back to an Ohio 7. We have a very, 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 very special guest with us today. Shaun Anthony.
What's up? Like, is that me? Oh, that's me. What's up?
Literally him. Shaun does comedy. He's so good. He's so funny. He's so hilarious. And he also likes being our friend, which is even better. Shaun does Post Moves comedy at Bar Bayou every Sunday. Pull up. It's such a good show. Everyone who goes is awesome, hilarious. He'll expand more on that because he has a lot of really good comics that come in. And then he also does Yellow 5 comedy at wherever that is, whenever it is. Sometimes it switches up, so I don't know. So Shaun, please take the floor. Oh, and by the way, if you have not been here before, I am Angela.
And I'm Gabby.
And this is Shaun.
Hey, what up? Thank you for that lovely introduction. I wouldn't have been mad if you kept going for like 5 more minutes, honestly. But
you know,
I couldn't to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey.
So anyway, another fun fact about that. I'm just kidding.
The first time we met Shaun.
Right. Ooh, that's probably a story.
Dark and stormy night. So Post Moves, we've been doing that going on like 2 years now. At Bar Bayou, dope ass show. We got everybody from like SNL people to like people on TV, mad views people. Which aren't always funny, but the ones we get are funny. All right, like the views don't mean funny. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So,
That's
but we
real.
get, so we make sure the Venn diagram connect in the right way.
And they do.
So
And did.
those people, people from the Cellar, New York Comedy Club, all the dopest shows, etc. So. Yeah, I've been doing that 2-year anniversary coming up. That should be fire. Yeah, it's been a beautiful thing.
Free
By the
free
time
alcohol all
it
night.
comes out
Just kidding.
what day is the 2-year anniversary?
6/15.
6/15. Yeah, so this will be
it's
out
actually
before then.
Father's Day, and y'all ain't got no daddy, so just come.
Yeah, y'all ain't got no
I'm
dad.
projecting.
Y'all like me.
So yeah, come on now. You ain't got nothing to do. You ain't going to Red Lobster with old boy. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'll just get some biscuits and cook them up at home, bring them down.
Straight up.
We'll celebrate Father's Day.
Sad as hell.
You can actually just make him for Shaun.
Yeah,
straight
they're
up.
just a little basket for Shaun. Like,
Just
Happy
soaked
Father's
with
Day.
tears. Just flour, tears, cheddar. That's the.
Tears, cheddar.
I think that's how they make it at Red Lobster too.
Yeah,
That's why it tastes so
100%.
good.
100%. Yeah.
Okay,
So that
and
should be fun.
Yellow 5?
Yellow 5 is kind of like a pop-up series I started. I kind of want, Post Moves is a team effort. Shout out to all the co-prods. Yellow 5, still sort of a team effort, but it's more like my close conglomerate of friends outside of comedy that helped me put this on.
It's a me effort.
And a team/me effort. Because I don't want to discount, I got the homegirl Erica on the photos, homegirl Sahara helping it. Definitely it's not me by myself, but it is like, a lot of my personal favorites in terms of the lineups and just kind of going with the venues that give me a good vibe. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Did one someplace. It didn't quite, it went really great. But dealing with a venue is a whole other thing. Yeah. It's like working somewhere and you like your customers, but the management might be a different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the vibe. But the place we're at now is beautiful. So we're doing another one in July. Check us out, Yellow 5 Comedy on the Instagrams.
We'll be there.
That's enough selling, right? I feel
we'll
like.
be there.
Absolutely. I'll be there. I'm pulling up. I pull up to almost all the shows. Every Sunday I'm pulling
I try
up.
to be there.
So
anytime I can.
Hey, they out getting money. I'm not mad when they getting money.
I always
You know
show
what I'm
up. I do after hours with you all the time though.
That's a fact.
I'm here for the after hours.
I am here for that. You know what I mean?
I get the real shit.
Yeah,
I get the unscripted.
Unprompted, uncensored. It usually got to do with the bartender giving me extra shots. Like I didn't order that, but you gave it to me, and now
right.
Some be drinking Negronis.
We get like the like pre. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Like we get the jokes firsthand, and then we see him in the show.
We
like,
talk about it.
I guess I would say I was his muse.
Yo.
You could definitely say that.
No,
here's where we are, and here's the lead. Nah,
whether or not it's true, no one will ever know.
TBD.
Yeah. So give us some insight. How did you start? How did you get into comedy? What inspired you, and what inspires you to keep going? Because that shit is hard. So
yeah, that's a great question. Y'all so professional. I was about to say, if I'm telling the truth, I was in these streets, on the dating tip. I was in the streets.
I was
in the streets.
He was outside.
And people I was in the streets with would be like, you should try comedy. And I just thought they just wanted me to buy more free drinks for them. So I slash stay alive. Like, I feel like it was like, don't kill me, you're funny. Like,
Right.
I thought that was the energy. So I never.
Like, you're funny. Go be a clown.
Yeah, exactly. Right, yo. That is what we, yo. You clown ass nigga. Go do that somewhere. Put on
A dance jester.
yeah, put on a wig, colored wig and shit. That is what they were saying. That's crazy. But that ass, like, so it was a mix of that, and then I'll tell you, like, you know, that was a while back, and then like, you know, then I was on a train with my girl, and like her coworker came on, and the coworker was like, yo, there's mad cops in this station, like there's mad cops. And I was just like, or mad cops in the car. And I was just like, I ain't worried about them. They don't pay me no mind no more. They used to be all over a nigga. They used to catcall a nigga all the time. You know what I mean? All on my body. They ain't done that in years, son. Like, I'd give a lot of money to just like, get a little, you know, just let a bitch know he still got it.
Y'all
you know
ain't gonna say nothing? Y'all ain't gonna
nothing.
Y'all ain't gonna
you
say
don't
nothing?
see me here, son. I got shorts on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Calves
got
out.
mad
And
thigh
that's why,
meat. Like,
men, there's a loneliness epidemic. Y'all are touch deprived because the cops ain't touching y'all on the trains no more.
Right, what the hell?
There we go.
This is
Y'all blaming the
pre-pandemic.
women, and we still blaming the pigs.
You know, this is crazy. I feel like we're inadvertently like endorsing Mayor Adams, and I don't like that part. Like, we're just like, yo, bring more cops, Mayor, more cops. Like,
Less
nah,
cops,
that's
less
not.
cops. Well, they be dilly-dallying at the top of the...
Oh, man, they
Yo,
just,
dilly-dallying's a great word. We got to say more
they're on
dilly-dally.
TikTok.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
are. They're
Scrolling through the
liking my
feed.
posts as I'm like sitting down and there's actively something going on.
Yo,
They're
that's a
just
fact.
recording it.
You're recording the crime of whatever
That's
crazy
a-
shit that's happening, and then the fucking cops are on their phones, so they're like downvoting.
They're
it.
like, oh, I found her. Yeah,
Right.
oh,
They're
she
watching it on Facebook Live and they're like, next.
crazy.
Not funny. Not entertaining.
Not at all, yo. So
Crazy.
So yeah, so that happened, you know, that ridiculous whatever, and I was just like, and then he was like, "Oh, do you do stand up?" And I was like, "Nah, maybe I should." Like
The cop said that?
No, not the. That would have been crazy. I would have ran from stand up if a cop said that. I've been like, whatever you say, I'm doing the opposite.
So real.
Yeah, but nah, it was my girl's homeboy, coworker, what have you, said that, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of an original thought. Like, I haven't heard. I go to a lot of comedy shows already. I haven't heard somebody say that, so I was like, yeah, let me take a class and figure out how to write it so it's like funny and structured. And so I did that. That was like a little over a couple years ago. So
See that point, man? Just because somebody says that you should do stand up doesn't mean that you should immediately get on a stage. Do the work. Look up stuff. Just because your boys say you're funny does not mean that everyone else is going to think you're funny.
That's a
Do
fact.
the work. Take a class. Talk to your
True.
friends. Do some practice.
And do it with a black woman. I took a class with a black woman, awesome comedian, Chanel Ali, highly recommend. Amazing comic, and you're gonna get it straight. You know what I mean? You're gonna get it straight. And like, there are people who took the class who, you know, they're not doing it no more. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But they,
That's fine. That's fine.
you know, but
Not
you,
everyone's meant to be
They
funny.
found out
Yeah.
quickly that wasn't their
yeah,
journey.
don't get a coddler, bro. Like, get, you know,
Get a heckler.
Yeah, there we go. Hell yeah.
Oh, no,
yeah.
that's sick. Okay. I mean, and Shaun holds a very big place in my heart because I told Shaun that I wanted to do stand up one time, and he's like, all right, well, you can go here, 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 and here. I said, okay, I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to see how it goes. And it went okay for the most part.
No, your first one went really well.
Lied.
Yeah.
She
Your
did
first one went really,
You
really
did
well.
so much better than me than my first. It's not compared, but like I ate shit the first time for sure. You know what I mean? Like, you got like solid laughs. Like, you had actual like jokes. I was just talking when I first went. You know what I'm saying? It's a it's a difference, bro. So yeah.
What would your because you know, ever since then I haven't done a open mic in a long time because my last one I fumbled hard. What would you tell people to encourage them to keep going when you know, because sometimes you have different crowds. This is just based on what you told me. Sometimes you have different crowds and your jokes don't land every time, and that could, you know, feel. And I did see that you said that you had someone walk out on you on a show.
Oh, that was,
What?
That was glorious. That just happened. Like in
Yeah.
the past week.
Wait,
That
really?
was beautiful. Yes.
That
When
was
I
beautiful.
walked out in the middle of my set, it felt amazing. So here's what happened. I did a bit about the there's a boat that crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge, like,
right.
you know, semi recently. And so I did a bit about how funny looking the boat was to me. Like, Because it was like, I didn't know we still had sailboats. Like boats.
That was a pirate ship.
It was a pirate. That's what I'm saying. That was a who lives under the sea ass ship. Like that was a like that boat looked like it transports croissants and slaves. Like that's what I was like. That's what I was saying. You know what I mean?
That's so funny. So true though.
That's what it looked like.
Crash.
So that's all I talked about. I was just like, yo, this boat is funny looking as hell. And after my set, this woman comes up to me because the Knicks were playing, and this woman comes up to me. I was like, oh, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I had to leave in the middle of your set. I work in the maritime industry, and 2 people lost their lives. It was too soon. Da, da, da. And I was just like, as soon as she said maritime industry, I was like, oh, this is about.
What does that mean?
I work in boats. Like I work in boats
Girl,
on the water. Like, but exactly, no one ever says maritime. Like,
no.
Like,
I would have
like,
never known.
alright.
If you didn't know what that was, or you didn't tell me what that was, I'd be sitting here like this.
Dude, you typed in your title and what you do, and that's what ChatGPT told you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
That
you're a
ass.
maritime worker
I
now.
work in maritime. Like it's like I work in aquatics. Like nobody says that kind of shit. It was crazy to me.
Right.
But that felt incredible. I just let her rock. I let her cook, and I was like, word, thanks for sharing, appreciate that. And she went away, and I was just like, that's amazing. That felt so good because I knew I wasn't in the wrong because I wasn't punching at the people who died, obviously.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't do that. That's not my style.
Right.
I was just like, this boat looks funny to me.
Yeah. Crazy.
I was like, I want to talk about how funny this boat looks.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
completely
saying?
separate from everything else. The boat is funny.
Yeah,
And that
straight
also,
up.
that situation was so crazy because I'm like, y'all had so much space to realize that, like, y'all weren't going to fit under that bridge.
But like,
Which happens. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
work
You
in
know-
maritime.
You know,
I don't work in. Hey,
I don't work
hey,
in
I ain't
maritime,
no
so I don't know.
You know what's crazy? That was the first time I did the joke. I commented on that. The version she saw, I didn't even say that. But I did say the first time I did I was like, how you drive a boat
It seemed
into
like the driver was going against them people's demise.
Right. Because
didn't
the
talk
thing
about
is,
the
like, the boat's been, the bridges have been
captain?
around for a minute. The boat's been built for a while. How we know that was the first time y'all took it.
like when you rent a U-Haul, they got a sticker on the side of the joint that's like 10.6 clearance,
Yeah.
like 11.2 clearance. Like you don't know
turn that bitch around.
you don't know the clearance where it's just like like
Here's the thing. You know, if you're going to stack people like 9 stories up above a boat and then not look to see how low the bridge runs, kind of crazy work.
That's crazy work.
That's crazy
wild
work.
work.
And that's why it's not my job.
And maybe that's the conversation that the maritime workers should have been having.
Yeah, like actually, this is a reflection on you, and you're projecting
That ass.
towards me.
What did you do wrong that night? She
Yeah.
took it personal because she was part of it.
That's
Yeah.
right. There
She's
needs
like,
to be a
you're-
maritime meeting. A meeting of
Y'all
the
need to be getting together
of
and
the
talk about these
minds.
boats more often.
Right.
That's a fact.
That's on
Something
you, girl.
slipping
That has
through.
nothing to me. Yeah, that's why I would be like, honey, you're projecting. I mean,
Yeah.
you left because
Where
you
were
felt bad about your
that?
job.
Where were you Friday night at 7:15
Yeah.
2 weeks ago?
Got questions.
Mm.
Got questions.
Mm.
It was that was wild as hell to me, but it felt great. It really did, low key. That happened, and then the other awesome comedy. I'm sorry, I feel like I got off of the question, but
No, I mean, my question was just like, how do you just keep going, and how do you
word.
handle hecklers and
you got to
stuff like
count
that.
well. Take one. You got to remember the wins because there's always like small wins. You know what I mean? Like I'll just say what I was about to say, which was a joke just got stolen from me, or at least the premise. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, I'm good enough that people want to steal now. That's pretty. That's pretty sweet.
Wait,
you
when did
know
that
what I mean?
happen?
I just noticed it this morning.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is fresh. This is like so. There's a open. I'm not gonna say it specifically because it'll be easy to pinpoint. But basically, there's an opener I've been using for weeks, and I know that this person saw me. Like I record each of my sets, and I know he was there at least once, maybe twice.
Right.
And the joke is one that culturally it makes sense for me to make, but not for you to make.
That's insane.
So with these factors combined, I'm like, nigga, you stole that shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool.
Damn.
It's cool because they did a sketch. I did a joke. They were like, oh, good idea. They did a sketch. Maybe they didn't know they stole it. Just was like sat in the back of their mind. And either way, I'm like, hey, I'm really progressing here, and
You're
that
right. People
people
are
are
starting
walking
to
out
steal my
on me.
shit.
People are stealing from me. You know what I mean?
That's actually so
It
hype.
is.
That's exciting. And I think like the whole thing about New York comedy too is like people actually see you guys. Like people like from just starting to go to shows after going to Post Moves, I started to go to a lot of free shows, shows in the back of pizza shops and shit like that. I've seen comics on television and being in TV shows and stuff. So there is so much opportunity in comedy
And just meeting people.
and meeting people.
Like, we
Yeah.
met crazy people were like, and this happened the other day. We were out. I'm not gonna say his name, but there was somebody I was like yelling at him because I'm like, bro, I fucking know you for like an hour. I was like, I know.
Oh,
you.
it was
I
one
have
of the comics
seen
that you had at your show.
perform."
Oh, word.
Because we see him on
Yeah.
TikTok all the time,
Oh, I
and we were
can't-
like, "Why do we know?"
I was
can't
like, dude.
wait for y'all to tell me who this is after. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. And I was like, no, man, like, I fucking know you. I've watched you perform. And he was like, no, it was probably just some other light skinned tall guy. I was like, yo, why you always gotta turn that around
And it
on
was
me?
funny because Gabby's making up these scenarios in her
Because
head
I
about like
remembered.
going to the show, seeing him tell a joke. Like she placed herself in this TikTok video.
That's
like
funny.
I was there. I must have watched it right before bed and like I dream
And it just
scenarioed
sank.
it and I was sitting in that fucking audience. And then we found out later that he's like famous on TikTok and I've been watching him since like 2020.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
It was your headliner last
is he
week.
or like yeah, no, he's
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
So
So he has
then-
a huge following on TikTok.
Huh.
and he was like he had this stand-up performance that went viral that I watched the night before and I even sent it to Alex.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, yo, that's where I was fucking because I was like, he was talking and I'm like, your voice sounds so familiar. I'm like, I know I've met you in person. Like, there's no way.
And Gabby was convinced that he had already done Post Moves before.
Oh.
And
I
she's
thought
like,
he
I saw you
did.
here.
I thought
And
he did.
I almost was like, I saw you here because I heard one specific joke that I heard on TikTok. And I was like, I've seen you do this here before. And he's like, I've never done this show before. And we're like, yes, you have. Stop lying.
And like, we got just progressively drunker and we just
Yeah.
continued to ask
Just-
the
yeah.
same question.
yeah.
That's funny.
He was a good
And
sport about
and
it,
you know
though.
what's crazy is there somebody else. This is mad inside baseball. People are like, I'm not at the show. What you talking about? But there was somebody else who was at the show, another regular, who hit me about that comic and was like, "Yo, has he done Post Moves before?" And I was
telling
like,
you.
"Nah." And then I sent him another light skinned guy, and he was like, "Oh, that's who I thought it was." And I was like, "Okay,
Perhaps that's
Yeah.
maybe who I got mixed up with.
Yeah.
it happens."
Yeah, and literally because you remember you had this other comic that I went on a date with.
Did I? I don't.
Yeah, and
I know nothing.
There was
I know nothing.
I pulled up to the show and thought that he was doing.
That's what
No, I've
that
been telling
is.
Shaun all my tea. But I pulled up to the show and he got up
Right.
on stage and my heart sank into my asshole because I thought that he was the same comic. Even Gabby walked up and she double takes. She's like, "Is that not
I'm
the?"
giving her the craziest look as I approach because I'm like, is he
Yo.
sitting right there? Because I'd never met him. I'd only seen photos of him.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And I don't keep until I meet them in person. I ain't taking any of your dates into real consideration. They're not
No.
people until
No.
they're
They're
in
clowns.
person in front
They're
of
all
me.
clowns.
No, literally.
Professional clowns.
Let the clowns be clowns. You know what I
No,
mean?
Fair
And,
enough. I
listen-
would have given you. I mean, I didn't know for sure y'all was pulling up, but I'd have given you a heads up. I'd given.
That's
You know
so
what I'm
real.
saying?
That's
So
you're
kind.
so real for that.
I would've.
That's so kind. Yeah.
He said, "Ain't
And-
no way."
Yeah.
This is tea, but I think this is a funny story. Is that I went on a date with this comic and
Oh, did
it
you
was
now?
so
I've never-
bad. It was so bad.
This is the first time for me too.
It was a terrible experience, and he was such a bad talker, and which was crazy because he's a comic. And so I looked at him in his ohos and I said, for someone who talks
Ohos.
professionally, you sure are really bad at it.
Damn.
He did not like that. Speechless.
I think his balls just shriveled up immediately when you said that.
I mean, mine's kind of did. That was
person-
hard to hear vicariously. Nigga. That
Every
was
man
crazy.
you have told somebody said that, I immediately they're like, it's like you can watch like the shot hit their chest and they're like, and they're like, oh really?
Yeah.
He didn't call you back? That's
Oh,
crazy.
he hates you?
Yeah.
And they all looking at each other
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's crazy.
That'll do it, dog.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Listen, I
look,
can't.
a lot of comics are the social stuff. You know, not talking about this cast specifically. I'm just saying in general, like the social stuff isn't all the way there. Like that's something I've noticed. Like to be a well-adjusted comedian is like kind of an oxymoron. Like it's very, you know, it's at least on the male side. But definitely, like definitely
we know it.
definitely on the male side, a fair percentage on the women's side too. Like, yeah, just Just saying. It takes a personality type to be like, listen to me and only me for 15 minutes.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
The
that's
hardest type of performance, though.
Yeah.
It genuinely, like, whenever, you see comedy, like, yeah, like, singing's hard and music's hard and everything's tough.
Yeah.
But, like, man, comedy? Like,
Comedy is hard.
That's putting your whole, everything you think's funny,
Yeah.
your way that you're a public
So
speaking.
vulnerable.
You're having a conversation with yourself and hoping that the audience
Like,
is enjoying it.
connects. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's scary as fuck.
There's also, I think part of why, because I was talking to a friend of mine about it recently, and he was like, yo, how does this compare? I used to do music stuff. I used to produce and rap and whatever. And he was like, yo, how does this compare? And I was just like, it's way harder because there's a certain like competency level you can reach with like rapping or singing, or like where people right away, like within like 2 lines can be like, oh, I can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I could do a simple ass, like a cat in the hat ass rhyme or whatever,
Yeah.
but I can't do what you just did.
Yeah.
But anyone can get up, start talking, and then people are like, yeah, I could get up and start talking too.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard. You got to get over people's assumption, like, yo, I could do that shit. I could
Also,
just
like,
talk.
objectively, like, even if you don't enjoy somebody's singing or their ability to play guitar, you can objectively tell when somebody's good.
Right.
Yeah.
But the difference between comedy is that, like, there's no objectively good.
I mean, I think
There is, but there isn't. Like,
personally, I think if you have the confidence, if you come up with the confidence and you have the cadence when you go up there, like
Yeah.
I think that because you could be funny and you can tell jokes all day, but if you don't have like a personality, for me, this is me speaking only. If you don't have the personality that kind of sells your joke, or
Right.
even like the look or like the vibe, and then
Yeah,
your
but
joke doesn't land
sometimes-
as much.
But that's not always true because you have those weird ass comedians that like just kind of like shrivel on stage and
Yeah.
say
That's
like
their vibe.
one-liners,
Yeah.
and people die. Like,
Yeah.
That's their thing. That's
yeah,
their
that's
Yeah.
but
niche.
it's
Y'all
crazy
both
and it's
right on
cool, but
this.
it's very like it's so much. I feel like in that case, it is so much different than music because like somebody goes on and they play a piano piece and they're really good at piano, then you're always gonna be like, okay, well, I might not love that, but I can tell that they're good at piano. But if
Right.
somebody you don't like their comedy, you're like, they're not funny. Like, people are like, not funny.
Yeah.
They can't even see a version where you would be funny to
Yeah.
people, you know?
No, that's fair. As from like an audience standpoint,
Yeah.
as a comic, I can watch comics and not like their comedy at
Yeah.
all, and be like, but I can tell they're good.
Yeah.
Like I could tell this is good and they are good at what they do. I'm just not fucking with it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you know what I mean?
interesting.
So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
From an audience standpoint, it's like, this ain't making me laugh. This shit whack. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I get it. Like, and those are like the more niche people you'll see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think I'll say this: there are comedians where you can basically put them in any room and they'll kill, and those are like, that's like, you know what I mean? That's a certain level to get to.
That's God tier.
Like that's like, yeah, you want some shit. Like that's like I don't know if y'all know Yamanika Saunders. Usama is another one. Sadiq, he's done post moves. He's actually, I want to say he's on the poster in the in the restroom. Like for,
Oh.
hey, if you're seeing this, Usama, I hope that's cool. You're in the Bar Bayou bathroom. Say, come on down to some comedy, nigga. That's what that shit said.
Oh my god.
But he's a killer. Like you
Yeah.
put a black room, white room, like, more academic room, more less, whatever. Like any kind of, he's going to kill. Like that's the,
Right.
so yeah, you got those people, but then you got more often you have people who's like, all right, this is more their crowd. This is more, so yeah, it just depends what you into on that
Okay.
shit.
I do
Yeah.
have a question. Gabby said something about ChatGPT before.
Okay.
How do you feel about comedy and ChatGPT? Like, do you feel like you can tell when people like maybe ChatGPT their jokes or ask ChatGPT to enhance their jokes, or do you
That
think
one.
people do it at all?
Yes on the do it. Can I tell? I don't know if I don't know if my ears are that refined yet. I don't know how good it is yet. I do think it's inevitable to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit is just here, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Right.
It's just a wild time to be. I will say some of what you were saying earlier in terms of like personality, vibe, like confidence. You can't, regardless of what that is, whether it's like squirrely and awkward and nerdy, or like,
Right.
I'm the coolest nigga, I be doing this, that, and like whatever, wherever you fall on the spectrum, like you can't fake that. You can't
Right.
fake, eating shit. Like if you're bombing and like, how do you stand in it? Or, you know what I mean? So even if you have assistance has existed in comedy forever.
Mhm.
It's just whether it's human or not. Like
Okay.
people have writers, like the people you've heard of, like they got writers. You know, if you watch the HBO show Hacks, like that kind of, I don't know how accurate that'll be, but like people have assistants, so you still got to get up there and stand in the shit. So
Yeah.
it don't
It's
matter.
not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah,
Kinda.
it's
In
or
that-
it's
in
both.
that case, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You still got to come with that part of it. So if you don't got the metal to deal with that, then it won't even matter. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We there was one time Gabby and I, because we were thinking about it today, because we were like, damn, I wonder how much people use it in comedy. And so one time I was like talking to this man, and I wanted to say something funny, and me and Gabby could not for the life of us think of something funny.
Okay.
So we wanted to do a like a funny reply, and we got on ChatGPT, and we're like, all right, like say it had something to do with like the Olympics or something. We're like, okay, make it funnier, and it would say something. And we're like, funnier.
We're just like trying to see how funny that they can make it.
You're like the Adam Driver in Star Wars meme, where like more.
No, literally. That's how it would be like, make it funnier. Make it funnier.
And ChatGPT's like, I can't. It's as funny as I can get. And we're just like, no.
It was like after like the third or fourth time, it just started to just like plummet.
Yeah,
There
it
was
was
a
like
plateau
I
immediately.
Oh,
Gave you
my-
the best I could,
Right.
and that was it.
Like, this
but-
makes all my computer friends laugh.
yeah, so like I was thinking maybe people like write in their joke and they're like, make this funnier, you
Word,
know?
word.
So
I can see it.
yeah,
But we
and I
did
can
that
tell
one
you've
time,
never
it was
done it
funny.
because you didn't know what I was talking about. You're like, oh, people do that?
Not
But-
needed.
But
Yeah.
speaking of like dating and talking, we didn't talk about dating. But speaking of
I talked about
ChatGPT, we also wanted to bring up to you as one of the topics. How do you feel? I mean, like you're in a relationship with somebody and they're great. But before that, did you ever do like online dating? Did you ever try that out? And what was that like as a comedian? Did you put it in your profile or do you leave that shit out?
ooh,
Oh.
very important question.
Yes and no, because I don't think I was doing comedy when I did that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a comedy baby.
Okay.
You know what
yeah.
I'm
You
saying?
said
I'm
that
a
too.
baby.
Yeah.
But killing it, still
so-
killing it.
Hey, I'm doing
Yeah,
the best
you're
I can.
Very
girl.
involved for being a comedy baby. You're out there.
Doing the best I can. So yeah, but it was the apps was a funny time though. I think about this periodically. There was this one woman who reached out to me. This was on Bumble. She reached out to me. Her first message to me was, if you can travel through time, would you rather be in the 1720s, the 1820s, or the 1920s? And I was like, D, I'm black, nigga. None
Yeah.
of them.
Right? I'm sitting here like, white
no,
woman? All I hear is
she was a white woman.
I was
She was
like-
a white woman. And I was just like,
Was
yo,
she a blind
man.
white woman? Like she
Yeah,
didn't see
what?
your photos at all?
She was somebody, see, talking about like not like doing your own material. She copied and pasted it from somewhere. It
Yeah.
was just like, dog, read the room.
asking
You know what I'm
people that,
saying?
bro.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, make
what?
adjustments, something like that.
Right.
Like, yeah.
We're like, that's a target. Like maybe she was just racist, and she was like, let's see what he has to say.
She's like,
Man.
because she
Ha,
wants to
ha.
date you, but she don't want anyone to know about it. So she's
Yo.
like, how cool are you with it?
yeah, that's
She's like,
get away with.
That's how she scales it out.
how good are you with miscegenation?
Right.
She still uses miscegenation
Yeah.
as the word. That's crazy. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a time. The other, no, you didn't ask, but my brain goes here. It's like, yo, what are the wildest messages? What I did have in my profile once upon a time was like a sometimes vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
Right? And
Isn't
so,
Which is not a
everybody-
vegetarian.
come again?
Which is not a vegetarian.
Well, so,
And
okay.
sometimes I eat
was
a
it
salad.
you? Hold on.
Sometimes I eat a salad.
Yo, somebody
Isn't
kicked.
everyone sometimes vegetarian?
Yo.
I'm sometimes vegetarian daily, depending,
Okay, so
depending on the
sweet.
meal.
You know, did I have the salad or not? It's just, I don't know, man. It's she took umbrage. Umbrage is the
Ooh,
word.
that's a good word.
You know,
Yeah.
ooh,
Okay,
yo, SAT
okay.
verbal, high as
Merriam-Webster.
hell, come through.
It's not all a waste, guys. When you start your comedy career in New York and you get on a podcast,
Amen.
you can use those words.
There it is. There it is. That's how I'm using it for the first time.
Yeah.
Just testing it out.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, she didn't like that I was sometimes. So she was like, "How can you sometimes have morals? How can you sometimes like out the gate? No, what's up?
What's
How
up
could you
with
say
you?
that?
How
How
you
you white
day?
girls?
Da 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 da. You know.
You're like,
With
don't
white
you know
women.
I'm a fucking man? That's kind of the criteria.
I mean, she not
Morals,
lying.
morals when convenient.
I mean,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna argue that point. I'll argue a lot, but that you got it.
Yeah.
Gag.
Gagged him. Gagged
You
him.
got it. And yeah, so that was one thing. Although I did, I got her a little on my comeback because I was just like, yo, how are you talking to me right now? Like, do you have an iPhone? She was like, what? I was like, do you have an iPhone? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So you're good with the main manufacturer installing suicide nets because the factories are so great to work in? You
Yeah.
good with that? And she, we
She's
didn't
cheating, and
go
she
out.
wanted you.
We didn't go out. It's
Oh,
so
why is
weird.
that?
I don't know.
I don't know why it didn't work. He's like, I can't pinpoint the moment it went south. Actually, I don't know.
So difficult to say. But yeah, that is a real thing that happened. It's a big New York Times story. We all make choices, baby. It is what
If
it
they
is.
keep raising my rent, they're gonna need to install suicide net
Yeah.
to me too.
Yeah. What?
They raise that an extra $100-$200. I'm fucking installed. That has to be part of the new lease agreement.
Fair enough.
Dude.
Fair enough. That's New York City for you. How about y'all? Actually,
How about us?
what's some of the wildest like intro messages y'all have gotten on?
Oh,
on
I got
the
a
app?
list of them.
Oh, I believe you.
I got
Hit
the
me.
craziest list of them, and I wish I had my phone. I probably sent them to Gabby at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that as like a bit one time. Like we went through.
but
like,
we
I
didn't
was like,
actually post it.
just start like liking everybody on Tinder and
Okay.
just seeing what they say to you. Like off
they're
rip.
insane. Like
People
these
say-
men are insane. One man told me that he would build me a cabin in the woods. First of all, I'm putting him on a watch list. He was like, "You're so gorgeous. I want to build you a cabin in the woods and allow you to live out all your dreams there." And I'm like, "My dream is not to live in a cabin in a wood." I'll
She's
tell
like,
you
I'm
that.
not white, bro.
Right? Like what? Hello? I was
Do
like,
I
giving
look
off that
cottage
vibe?
core to you?
He's displaying his resourcefulness.
I
He's,
have
he's, you know,
one picture with a
just
cowboy hat
because
on.
he bought a Carhartt jacket at a
Yo.
thrift store in fucking Brooklyn does not mean that he can
Yo.
build a
Yeah,
fucking
he's like, I'm
cabin.
gonna
in the
whittle you a
Nah,
cabin.
he's
Sorry,
bro.
I hate to tell you guys that. Just because you wear it doesn't mean you become it.
Yeah,
spit
you're not that. I've seen your arms. I've seen your arms.
You can't live
I've
to
seen
2
your
by 4.
manicured fucking
You can't
nails
get the
and
fuck-
the fact that you've got
You're like, ooh, a splinter. Like, I
Literally.
can't.
They're like, "Oh, I just fucked up my fucking clear coat.
Yo.
No, I left out my clear coat."
Ugh, I have to go get my cuticles are growing out. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my
Oh,
god.
No,
No,
yeah, they
no.
say crazy shit that I'm just like, why would you ever feel okay? And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm on an app.
Yeah.
I'm on an app in there, and these men are. Sometimes I get offended. Sometimes I get personally attacked when I open like my Hinge, and see the men, the gremlins,
Oh boy.
the little hunchback of Notre Dame's, the
Yeah.
little askew, asymmetrical faced men who look like they fucking crawled onto Earth. They couldn't get in through the front door, so they had to find a way in the back door. Like,
You know what's crazy? I feel 2 ways about this, right? So on one hand, I'm like, hey, shoot or shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta shoot your shot. It's it's a game of percentages.
That really is.
It is what it is.
is.
On the other hand, I've been where what you just articulated, where I'm just like, this will sound away, but I'm like, yo, why you think you and me, like, why do you think that would happen? You know what I mean? Like that makes me feel away. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know it sounds me like what you just said, but there's that too.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I
why
don't
do
know.
you even think that I would be in the like obtainability?
Yeah.
You know?
you know, like that's listen. You know, I talk about manifestation all the time. If you shoot for the stars every
Yeah.
single time, maybe one time
Yeah.
you will.
And that's what I'm saying.
So
They're
maybe I
like,
just
it's
need to
a
be
game,
more
it's a
like
fucking
these men.
numbers game. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
Yeah.
numbers game. So like maybe some girl's like really sad or some shit, and she's like, I just need an ugly motherfucker to dote on me.
Yeah. Like,
And you know what? She might
Damn.
find that.
right. But the
Damn.
thing I don't like
That's real.
is boosting a man's self confidence,
No, God
and I won't
forbid.
do that.
Heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid. I was
Because it's too easy. It's just too easy for men to look good.
Yeah.
You guys can have horrible looking faces and still look good. That's the whole point of this.
yeah.
Is that the bar is so
Shout out to
low, and
beards.
guys are like, I can't believe she wants a guy with hygiene. I can't believe she wants a guy that brushes his hair. Like guys get so tripped up about being
Right.
like, oh man, like recently people have been getting mad about the guy that does Nathan for you, Nathan
Oh,
Fielder.
yeah.
That girls are like, Nathan Fielder's hot. You
I'm
know,
like-
Nathan Fielder's hot. And guys are like, well, Nathan Fielder isn't even hot. I'm like, so you do look at men like that.
Yeah.
What do you know? Who do you think's hot?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do
Which
you
one's
mean
hot?
by that?
Which one's hot?
That
Tell
doesn't
me.
sound very heterosexual.
Yo,
of
side
you.
note, happy Pride. You know, everybody out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
All the
trust me.
boys
Yeah,
that said
it
that
is-
Nathan
Happy
Fielder isn't hot
Pride.
enough. Happy Pride.
My wish for all the gays and gals, the theys and the thems. I wish you all a good Pride Month, and I wish you all
good relationships and no scrubs, no bums, and no straight people that just want to hook up for no reason to test their grounds. I don't wish that upon you. Not this month. Not for you. Anyway, that's my tangent. Continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet on that, but that
I'm
sounded
gonna be quiet on that
sounded
too.
fair.
No, listen, that's the thing.
I'm not gay enough to be part of that conversation.
That's fair. That's
I'll be
fair.
honest.
But
Exactly.
listen, we were
I'm
talking
gonna
about Pride
know my
Month.
role
I'm
in this.
chiming it
I'm
in.
gonna get on my little boat. I'm gonna get on my maritime.
I mean, yeah, and it crashed.
Just say
Go on the bridge on the boat.
Right.
I said, she's. Yeah.
Bro.
Anywho.
Yes.
People feel way more comfortable online. It's just like when people are like roasting you online, they feel way more comfortable. Like, you wouldn't say that to my face.
That's a
Yeah.
fact.
You could try. I don't know if you'd get through it, but you could.
It'll go bad, especially
Oh, dude,
yeah,
I'm a
nah.
straight shooter. I shoot from the hip.
Yeah,
I ain't
very
even worried
straight.
about it, and
Very
I'll look you in
straight.
the eye when I do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I
Gabby
won't
will
even
cut
ask you to turn around.
Gabby will cut you down.
No,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
good luck.
sure. Yeah, I'm. Listen, I have no sympathy anymore.
No,
What do you have to
like,
offer? At this point, you
okay,
haven't offered me much anyway. So like,
I'm
bow,
literally-
bow.
I'm dueling it out with every guy, and you better be funnier than me. That's all I'm saying. You gonna say some crazy shit? You better at least make me laugh to where after I roast you, you can take it.
No, and I will say one of the things in my hinge, I was like, be funnier than me, and the guys in there, what makes you think that you're funny? Oh, who thinks you're funny? Blah blah blah. I guarantee I'm funnier
He's
than
like,
you.
don't you know that women aren't fucking funny?
You haven't been laid in so long, your dick is shriveled back up into your body. Shut up. Shut up.
Be like, if you think that
Wow.
you guys are so funny, why don't y'all just date each other?
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
you
that
guys
brings
can
me
giggle
back
in
to-
bed after
yeah.
y'all kiss. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't say that to a man, but a woman, you're like, you could possibly be funny.
no, I say, listen, y'all having such a good time with your bros. Just cuddle with your bros. That's all.
Once again, I'm gonna be quiet. But happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
And this isn't to Shaun because Shaun thinks women
I'm
are
trying to
funny,
make
and Shaun thinks women are educators, and he's telling you
Oh.
guys to go learn from black women. So if anything, be more like Shaun. Everyone be more like Shaun. Take notes.
Yo,
Actually,
I
y'all
should
should
get
be
that. I'll
taking
get that
notes.
on a shirt. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Be more
you're
like
welcome.
Shaun.
Yeah, be a good dude. Look how easy.
Well, we didn't say good dude. We just
Yeah.
said be more like Shaun.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just gonna
right,
say that.
right,
Yeah.
right,
How
right.
good? How
Morals
good
are
can I
already
be?
decided.
You
His
gotta hear
morals
some
are
of his
a little
jokes.
Yeah.
Still a dude.
He's
what I'm
just a
saying?
dude.
Still just a dude.
I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
I'm just a
Doing the
dude.
best I can.